And welcome back to another Reality Skewed Gamers Reviews. I'm your man with the plan, Ranger J 1999, and that giant hulk of a man is Kashmir, the Big K. Cash, how are you doing?
Doing just fine.
Yes, and we are here to review Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 4, The Foundling. One of the shortest episodes we've ever
Yeah.
gotten, but tell you what, man, it sure hits, man. I really enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed it a lot, man. This was
hmm
really bloody good. And a surprise cameo. I mentioned it on the lunch stream. I didn't want to say anything, but it was awesome to see. And I'm glad we'll get into it here.
Yeah, we'll
Uh,
get into that. I didn't catch that one at first, but
I knew immediately, I was like, that's well deserved. That's well deserved.
yes,
We'll talk about it here in a second. Um, but we can break this into three parts, and the name of this episode is
the
The
Foundlings.
Foundling. And this is a really good episode. I mean, it was short. They could have made it a little
Mhm.
bit longer, expanded out some things. Would be my only criticism, but for what we got, uh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good dish that I can enjoy. So the first part, there's three parts of this. There's um, the opening part, the middle part, which deals with, I would say, Grogu
hmm
and a little bit of Bo Katan and stuff and her transition. And then the last part, which we get some cool stuff as well, right? So the
Yeah.
first part is just them opening up and you see all the training, and I love this, of the Mandalorians, all their fighting and practicing and shooting their lasers and practicing, the rockets and hand-to-hand combat, weapons
hmm
training, stuff like that. So that was really dope to see that this conclave of Mandalorians are practicing their craft. It was really dope. I don't know I loved seeing that. It was really
Yeah,
good to see.
that was great.
And
That
then
was
yeah,
great. At some point, you see like you hear them like they're fighting,
yeah.
nothing crazy, and you hear them, no, do it like this, almost like
Mm-hmm.
no, do this, try it, like try it. You kind of hear a little bit of that kind of in the background, nothing crazy, but
And then we see Grogu on the beach doing Grogu things, looking at moving rocks and like, ah. And then he's
yeah,
like picks one up. He's like, oh, this is cool. It's a crab. And then of course Mando comes over like the papa that he is, and he picks him up. Says, "All right, kid. All right, play time's over."
yeah,
And takes him over and he puts him in front of one of the foundlings and says, "Hey, you're gonna train with him. He is the next challenger." And I really like the way they did this. It's and they bring Bo-Katan as this. I feel like if Jin is Grogu's father as the Mandalorian, Bo-Katan is slowly becoming the mother of
he's
of
becoming the mom.
Grogu. And you can tell they care about him a lot, both of them, right? That Grogu, it means something. Oh, we know what he means to Jin, but I think
Yeah.
Bo is really warming up to Grogu, and so it's a dart fight, right? And whoever scores three darts win. And I like Bo saying, my father was the same way. He's just a
Yeah.
proud father, blah blah blah, and
Take it
can
easy on
yeah,
him.
taking it easy on him, kid. And so the round one starts, he gets hit with Dark Grogu's like, okay, what do we do? And then
Yeah.
he gets hit with the second dart, and then Jin pulls him aside. Look, we know what you can do. Just do it. And then
Do
that
it.
third round, Grogu starts flipping with the Force, and then hits him
Yeah.
with three darts.
Pop, pop, pop.
And the kid's going, and it's the same kid that got attacked by the alligator before. This poor kid. And he's like, oh, damn
Is
it,
it
I
the same
lost.
kid?
Yeah, it was the same
Yeah, you
guy.
know what?
Yeah, it was the same kid. And so, and we learned who he is. He's the son of Pre
Yeah.
Vizsla. He goes to the water, and then one of those giant creatures from this planet comes up and scoops him up. And
Yeah.
then we have this chase scene where the Mandalorians, without thinking, just turn their jetpacks, start chasing this creature, but they run out of fuel. But here comes Bo Katan, follows him back all the way, finds out where he's at with her ship. She's like, you
hmm
idiots, use your
Yeah.
ship.
She gives one of those, silly men, work harder,
Hmm.
work smarter, not harder.
So funny. And then he comes up with a plan, comes back and comes up with a plan, and she's
Yeah.
made the war leader, and we'll get to that in a second. But then they go off to save the kid, right? Because he's picked up by the flying
hmm
pterodactyl, whatever creature you want to call that.
Yeah.
And then we have this really awesome moment with Grogu and the armor, and it's like season one where they did this. You know, it's reminiscent of season one with the forming of the armor, and she's making him a
Mhm.
piece. That's a foundling, and explains what the purpose of the forge is and what it does, and teaching him, and just as Jin had his flashback in season one, Grogu has his flashback, and man, what a flashback this was. So seeing, or again, more of Order 66. See these four Jedi defending Grogu, and he makes his escape on his elevator. He gets to the top of the elevator of the Jedi Temple, and who's sitting there but this Jedi Master Ahmad Best? Yes, right. Jar Jar himself was sitting there, and boy, did he kick some ass, man!
Yep.
Wielding two double-bladed light or two-bladed tube lightsabers, takes out a buttload of clones, gets Grogu on a bike, and then he throws one clone off the cliff. That was great. The guy's like, he's like,
Yeah.
and then there's a whole chase scene through Coruscant. He gets to, and I love this part too, and I picked up on it immediately because if you notice, the ship was Nubian and the
Yes.
guards were Nubian. So I'm like,
Yep.
okay, so where did that come from? Because that is
Mhm.
either Padme or there's something with the Queen of Naboo at the time. That looked like Padme's whenever. Well, it was a Nubian ship,
Yeah.
so we know the Nubian, and they fought and held off the clones while he
Mhm.
got him in there, and then they take off, and that's the last of the flashback, and then she gives him his new little his thing to wear on his armor that he will grow into. It's too big
Yes.
for him, but he's supposed to grow into it.
Mhm.
His signet or whatever she called it, the thing that she gave
Yeah, I think
him.
it was actual. I think it was the mythosaur, but like
Yeah,
almost like
little
the
round. Yeah, snake. Yeah, same thing that Bo puts on at the end of the episode.
yeah.
So we have that. Then we have the whole thing with the group that's going after the boy. They camp for the night. Bo's the war leader. They show her respect. They all go off in their separate ways to
Yeah.
eat, so she can take off her helmet, so that she
Because
keeps with the
because
code.
Bo's like how do you eat? How do you eat in these things? And Din's like you don't. You
You
take it
go,
off,
you
but
go, but
you
you go
go
off
into
on
your
your.
own corner and you take it off and then you eat. This way you're not in front of everybody. But and of all people, Vizsla is like he's the one that's like
Yeah,
you're the leader of this mission. You get the fire. We leave so she can take off her helmet. She can eat and not
yeah.
be disturbed.
And then we get this great scene of them climbing this mountainscape all the way up with their darts and climbing and stuff. It was
Mhm.
fantastic to see. Really great sequence. Get to the nest. They see a heat signature. Then Vizsla goes in there thinking it's his boy. We don't know it's his
Yeah.
boy at the time, but goes in there. It's actually three little chicks from the mother who, shows up and spits out the son saying, "Here's Din Din," and he saves but jumps in her mouth. And then you get this whole action scene. Basically, they save the boy. Both
Mm-hmm.
armor gets damaged in the fight, and then the little Jurassic Park, where the creature falls in water and that big giant gator comes up and
Yeah.
eats them. Always, as Qui-Gon said, there's always a bigger fish.
there's always a bigger fish.
And so they go back, and it was a great scene. And they bring back the hatchlings and tell the armor, "We've got three new foundlings."
Yeah, we got three.
And then the best scene, and I wish they would have had more dialogue in this, but it was good for what it was.
Mhm.
But I wanted to hear more. Bo Katan, because she's got missing a piece, and the armor is forging her, the armor piece, and she asked about, the mark of the mythosaur
Yeah.
be added to the shoulder, and like, yeah, it's a symbol of all Mandalorians. Anybody can wear it. And she says, but have you ever seen one? And the armor plays coy, like you see lots of things, and she's like, no, like a
Yeah. Yeah.
real mythosaur. And then she just says, "This is the way," and that's
Yeah.
where it ended. I was like, "Oh God, can we just expand that conversation a little bit more?" Like, Bo is starting to see a different side of things.
Yeah.
May not agree with that 100%, but she's seen the other side, right? She talked about how the clans were always against each other because they had different ideologies. We just recently, in our other show, thing that we do, our podcast, the Star Wars War with Idiots, we talked about the Mandalorians and the different cults and sects and
Mhm.
the different beliefs of the six tenets, and the belief of the code and the creed and things of that nature, to walk the path, not walk the path, the different things that they believe in, and they're different. And it's easy to judge someone when you don't know anything about them. And Bo is
Yeah.
getting a firsthand because she's now part of this clan,
Hmm.
this group of Mandalorians, and you can see that they're starting to respect her as a leader, and you see her kind of embracing that she's the chosen one, right? You see these scenes where whether she's wielding the dark saber or now that she's seen and been seen by the mythosaur, there's certain things that she took for granted previously she's not taken for granted anymore. And she's older and wiser and more mature. But I really love that scene of her asking those questions and the implications of it. So that kind of breaks down the episode. Cash, I've been talking.
Yeah.
Let's get your thoughts on this episode, your favorite parts, things that you noticed, things that you said. Seeing all my best as wielding two lightsabers had me cracking up, man. Because I knew exactly what it was. At first I saw him, I was like, wait, is that no, is that who I think it is? So I was like, it took me
Yeah.
maybe do a double take.
Well, because they're like, the Jedi's, they're all, they're fighting, and they're like, get him to, and I forgot his name, something started with a K. Get him to, and I'm like, oh, all right. I guess that's a planet they got to get him to, or something like they got to get him off here and get him to some planet that's a safe haven for the Jedi. And then finally, like they get, he takes the elevator and gets picked up by Ahmad Best, and I'm like, at first, like, listen, this is gonna sound bad. I'm like, no, that's a bad Mace Windu. Because I just saw the bald black
Oh
guy
yeah,
first
sure.
and all the stuff going on. I'm like, seriously, come on, you guys could do better than this. And then like I'm like, oh wait a minute, no, that's all right. They didn't wasn't bad CGI or bad deep fake or anything like that.
No.
And then but he kicks some ass. To the point where I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Because I don't know him, and I'm like, I had to look it up after the fact because I didn't know who it was, and I'm like,
It took me a
oh,
hot second, but as soon as I
all
looked
right,
at him, I was
that's
like, "Get the hell out of here!"
yeah, because I've never seen the I don't know what actual show it is where he is a Jedi and that where he is this character.
He's
So
never.
I
I've never seen this character before. It's something that just came out of
it's yeah,
that
it's
I'm
something that
aware of.
came out where he does like a not a quiz show, but like something like that. But
I know who
anyway,
Ahmad Best is. I've seen him in Celebration. I've
oh
seen the
yeah,
making
yeah,
of episode one. I knew who he was,
yeah,
and I'm happy for him that
yeah.
he. Because let's be fair, the fandom on I hate episode one. I don't like Jar Jar as a character, but I respect what
Hmm.
Ahmad Best did because he's a very talented voice and body
Yeah.
actor, and really good at his craft. And he got a lot of hate for Jar
Hmm.
Jar, and it comes with the turf. But he loves Star Wars. He's always been a part of the Star Wars family, and I'm glad to see that he's getting another role that like thank you on
Yeah.
my best for
Yeah.
for putting up with all the stupidity that some of the fans that can't differentiate between all he did was show up for work, put his best foot forward and do what he was asked to do. He didn't create the
Yeah.
character. He didn't do any of that stuff. That was George Lucas. So if you want to hate Jar Jar like I hate Jar Jar, hate George Lucas for coming up with the damn idea.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I'm glad to see. And I like that they've been doing that lately. You've seen Hayden Christian getting some love and,
Yeah.
and stuff back, and now Ahmed Best is. It really it makes me feel good to see that for those actors. To get
Yeah.
another opportunity, another bite at the apple for those
Hmm.
guys. It was great. And it was a great sequence. I mean, they really did a great job of showing, you know, how just and anytime you see anything with Order 66, whether we saw it in Kenobi or this or anything like that, it shows you how just brutal that was.
Yeah.
But anything else on the
And
episode, things that you liked and things?
I think we went over everything. The one thing, I guess, like more of just a question or just something to we talked about in the Law with Idiots. We talked about Mando's. I guess spoiler for that. Sorry, but
That's fine.
yeah, I asked a question there about are there any Mandalorians that were not just human, and we ended up talking about it and thinking of like one or two kind of
Well,
things.
it's we started spitting out all these guys that are Mandalorians
Yeah,
that were
they're all
not
right. Yeah, yeah.
Mandalorians. Yeah.
But do you think and just armor? She has all these like I'm gonna say horns or like little things sticking out.
Could be Zabrak.
She's Abra. That's
It
like
could be.
I was thinking that, because we just recorded the Lore with Idiots the other day, and I'm watching this and I'm like, wait a minute, is she? Like, we don't know. She's never taken off her helmet. We don't know what she looks like. Um, Obviously we know what she looks like in real life. It's nothing like as Zabrath, but I was just curious if she'll end up being one or not. That was just,
Yeah, we don't
but
know what they look like underneath their helmets. You know, we know they're
yeah,
humanoid, but I mean, there's tons of humanoid creatures and races
yeah,
in the Star Wars mythos and galaxy, and so it doesn't necessarily have to be human. And even
yeah.
humans have different identifiers, and they go by Carillion or from Coruscant or
Mhm.
wherever they're from. So, yeah, I mean, the Mandalorian culture is very fascinating to me. It's a warrior like culture.
Mhm.
We talked about, like, kind of like the Spartans of Star Wars, and the way they train and fight and live their lives and things of that nature. Their code of honor, the way they do things and act, and so it's a good parallel between the Spartans of ancient Greece, and you can make other, with kind of the way their mythos, the samurai code, the Bushido. There's a lot of parallels you can draw from a lot of cultures here in our own real world of how the Mandalorians. I think it's an amalgamation of all those things when you talk about the Mandalorians. But they've been
Mhm.
conquerors in the past, and now they're more, they're divided, they're separated throughout the galaxy. They say so in the trailer. Our people are scattered and all that stuff, and it's been that way for a long time. Other than Mandalore being Mandalore, but even then they were, the planet has been devastated through war because the Mandalorians, when they're fighting other folks, they're badass. They'll kick your ass, but they also are worse enemies to themselves because they fight amongst each other more than anybody else. So it's a sad tale, cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Of if you can't get along, you ain't getting. So you can be as badass as you want. Same thing happened with the Spartans. I mean, it's a cautionary tale through history, and
Yeah.
I like where this is going so far. I'm shorter episode kind of makes me worried a little bit about the episode lengths. I'm hoping we get some longer episodes because how many episodes is there in total? 8 this season.
This one's 8, yes.
So we got 4 more episodes. So I'm hoping they're much longer. That we got through the first part,
Mhm.
got all the setup. There's some really good stuff in there. I like where this is heading. I'm hoping the last 4 episodes are really longer episodes, 45 minutes each. We get some really badass stuff with everything here, and the story progresses, and we see what happens. Are they going to go for Mandalore? What's going to be the next step?
Yeah. What's the
Where the
next move?
Yeah, what's the next move? What's we're going? So, what are you going to rate this, Cash? Out of the
Um,
out of 5 dark sabers, what would you give this?
I'm giving this 4 dark sabers. I liked it. I love the flashback. I mean, how could you not like the flashback? I love the, you know, watching them work together, and just that training scene. That training scene alone just like really like it started got me off on the right foot. I was really excited just watching them train and just,
And just all the stuff
Grogu
they
getting
do
involved.
together and the way they operate together, it just was
Yeah.
so good. I'm with you. I'm 4 out of 5 dark sabers as well. I really enjoyed this episode, short as it was. And
Yeah.
and that's just us being greedy, man. They're telling the story the way they need to tell the story. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just greedy because we want more, right?
Hmm.
Because you can't get enough.
Yeah. But you know
And
what the problem is? Like, let's say it was another 15 minutes more. If it's not the, if it's not an action packed 15 minutes, they're gonna be like, wow, that is good, but that kind of took out.
Well, no,
you know,
if it's
like
if it's
story.
important, like Andor didn't have a ton of action. It was a lot of character stuff and
Yeah.
moments and building and if they had those, I'm down. I would love to have
Yeah.
seen some more dialogue between Bo and the Mandalorians and talking about
Mhm.
things, or her in the armor, or just a little bit more dialogue. You know, fleshing out some of the stuff that was being said and mentioned, but it's fine for what it is. I'm greedy. I want more. I love it. I really do. I'm really enjoying season 3.
You get what you're
Uh,
gonna get.
yeah, I'm happy to get it because I'm really enjoying the hell of this, and it makes me
Yeah.
excited for the other series. I mean, Andor was brilliant. This has been so good, and they're different. Andor telling its story and its timeline about what the espionage and all the stuff that's over here at that time period, and now we're in a different time period with a different group. And I love the way it's a totally different story. and it's a
Hmm.
totally different group, and I love the differences in both of those. I love Andor for what it is, and I love Mandalorian for
Yeah.
what it is, and they've been
Yes.
really good. So, all right, so let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Feel free to leave a comment whether you liked it or you didn't like it. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe. We put this on YouTube. This will go on podcast form. No. This I'm thinking something else. This will go on YouTube on the playlist. We got so many series and stuff we're working on right now. But this will go up on YouTube tomorrow. Or no, this is the Mandalorian, so this will go up tonight, and then I'll do the other one we do for Bad Batch tomorrow as well. So you can check those out. So, on behalf of myself and Cashmere, everyone have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week for episode 5 of